What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Or welcome if it's your first time here. I have a very serious question for you out here today. Are you truly ready for extreme violence? Are you truly ready to defend yourself if you're being attacked? You know, most people think they can go out and buy a handgun, for example, a rifle, a shotgun, some type of firearm, and go to the range and shoot a couple of boxes of ammo down range, and they think they're good to go. They think they're prepared for violent crime. But are you really? Probably not. It's extremely important to ask yourself and answer that question honestly. Are you ready to defend yourself with that firearm? You know, as the economy gets worse, as times get worse, people get more desperate, and violent crime always goes up. You have more home invasions, you have more robbery in the street, you have more kidnapping for ransoms, carjackings and things like that. Violent crime always goes up. If you look at any country that has had economic collapse, take Argentina for example, violent crime went up, kidnapping for ransom went up, home invasions went up, and it does. Regardless of what country you're in, what location you're in, violent crime always goes up. So you're more likely to have to use deadly force to defend yourself from violent attack. And are you truly ready mentally to do that? Now, there's a lot that comes along with actually taking someone's life in self-defense. Lots of mental anguish to deal with for most people. Are you truly ready for that? You know, if someone is breaking in your home, are you ready to defend yourself? Are you ready to pull that trigger multiple times to put that threat down? You know, a lot of people aren't. I've talked to a lot of people in my life who have actually come out and told me that if someone's breaking into their home, that they didn't think they could actually pull the trigger. And some of it has to do with, you know, religious beliefs and things like that about taking a life. You know, that's a whole other topic. However, there is a huge difference in murder and actually taking a life in self-defense to defend yourself and your family from being murdered. But most people has a lot to overcome mentally when it comes to actually pulling that trigger when the time comes, and without hesitation. You know, hesitation is what will get you killed. If you hesitate, if someone's coming at you and you haven't drawn your weapon yet, you aren't ready yet, you have to work this out through your mind to actually pull that trigger and try to do that while it's happening, you're going to die. If they're actually intent on killing you and you're going to die, you have to be able to do this stuff, be able to pull that trigger, use that lethal force without thinking and without hesitation. Because if you hesitate, if you have to go through this mental dilemma in your mind, you're going to be behind, because this person here, more than likely, they're a psycho lunatic and they're coming right at you. You don't have time to think about it. You don't have time to work out those moral dilemmas in your mind. You have to draw, you have to pop, 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 until they're on the ground. You can't hesitate, because if you're hesitating and they're coming at you and they're getting closer and closer to you and you're hesitating and they get right here and you haven't taken care of the threat yet, you're going to die if they're intent on killing you. So you cannot hesitate. That's why I say there's a lot to overcome mentally. And if you are sure that you can't defend yourself mentally, you're probably better off without a firearm. You're probably better off with something like a huge can of bear spray in your home, smaller canisters of OC spray to carry on you, you know, maybe a stun gun or something like that. It's not ideal, but if you can't actually use a firearm to defend yourself with, to defend your family, and use that lethal deadly force, you're probably better off to spend your money on something else. Because unfortunately, you know, some people just can't overcome that mental blockage, that mental blockage of actually defending themselves and using deadly force. They just can't get past that. And like I said, I've talked to several people in my life that said if someone's breaking into their home and they had a gun, that they didn't think they could actually pull the trigger. And I'm glad I'm not that way. You know, I hate to admit it, but I'm extremely capable of extreme violence. So I don't hesitate. I don't worry about that at all. I know I've had to use a firearm before in self-defense, so I know no hesitation on my part whatsoever. It happens. But you have to be ready to defend yourself, and you have to know mentally that you can do that. Because if you can't, you're better off to, like I said, have some bear spray, some pepper spray, a taser, stun gun, or something like that than you are a firearm. Now, thankfully, some of that hesitation can be overcome, at least slightly, by using realistic training methods. You know, most people when they go shoot, they'll put up a target, you know, a circle or something like that out on the range. They will stand, they will shoot, and they'll think they're ready to defend themselves. That's not realistic. If you use realistic training, you can overcome a lot of the mental blockages that you now have, and the hesitation that you now have, actually, or a lot of people have. Maybe not everyone, but a lot of people. If you use realistic training methods, you know, use targets that actually are silhouette of a human being, or even better yet, use targets that are actually photograph of a human being committing crime, for example. Go a step beyond that, and you can use things like mannequins. Dress those in different clothing, use those as target practice. You want to be safe, you want to get competent training, you don't want to be out here doing this stuff on your own. You want to get some good training, but this is something to look for when you're looking for someone to actually train you. One of the most likely threats that I see for preppers is armed home invasion. You know, where you have 2, 3, 4, or even more people try to invade your home in the middle of the night to rob you and torture you and take what you have. I read that in Argentina, this happened a lot to, you know, people who were out in the countryside, farms and things like that. The criminals would seek those out. They would target those homes. They would break in through, you know, home invasion, armed home invasion. They would take over their home. They would torture, kill, rape the people that was there, rob, and then they would leave. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest threats, especially for, you know, rural preppers. And you need to know exactly what you're going to do if that happens. If you're awoken in the middle of the night, your family should know exactly where to go, where to be, what kind of armament to get a hold of, you know, a shotgun, rifle, handgun, whatever. They should know exactly where everyone else is going to be at relative to where that entry point is. Have good locks in their doors, good windows, good alarm systems for early warning, because early warning is key. If they're already in your home and you're having to react when you're half asleep, it's going to be more difficult. So you need to have early warning. And if things are really bad and you know there's uptick in home invasions in your area, someone should always be awake at all times, because you want the early warning. If you're asleep, sound asleep, and you're snoozing away in the middle of the night, and someone comes through your back door and your front door and the window at the same time, you know, in a coordinated home invasion, you're going to be in a world of hurt. It's going to be difficult to get up, get situated, figure out where everything's at. But you need to run drills to kind of lessen that adrenaline rush. There's going to be an adrenaline rush for sure anyway. But if you know what to do, know where your firearm is at, know it's loaded, know where your lights are at, know where your vest is at, know where your family members are going to be at, it's going to go a long ways to helping you to be able to defend your home during those home invasions. So you want to run actual drills. In the middle of the night, like you're asleep, you know, you want to do it after dark, because attacks happen after dark. It doesn't happen in broad daylight, in perfect lighting conditions where you can stand, you can shoot, and you can get your perfect sight picture. It's going to be fast, it's going to be violent, and more than likely it's going to be dark. You need to learn how to use night vision if you have that, lights if you have that, early warning devices. You need to run drills with your family over and over and over again to be sure you can defend yourself when someone's trying to break into your home. And guys, it's also important to know the laws in your state. What are the self-defense laws in your state? Do you have stand your ground laws? Do you have the castle doctrine? Do you have constitutional carry? Can you get a permit to carry a handgun? What are the laws in your state? When can you legally use deadly force to defend yourself? Know these laws really, really well for your state, and it will help you not to make mistakes when you are, if you are, and when you are arrested and questioned. If you know the law and know, this isn't legal advice, not to watch what I say here, but if you know what the law is in your state, you'll be more likely to know what to say, what not to say, to turn things into your favor, hopefully. So know the laws in your state as they pertain to lethal force, self-defense, going armed. Know those laws really well and be able to quote those laws right off your head. It's important to know these things because, like I said, you'll be questioned, you'll be under stress. If you know the law, you'll know what to say, how to say it, when to say it. Don't give statements to law enforcement willy-nilly, because their job is to gain evidence against you, to put you in prison. So always ask to speak for a lawyer. And legally, they have to stop questioning you right then. When you ask to speak to a lawyer, they have to stop, they have to get a lawyer. And that will give you time to actually think, to not make mistakes, to not say something stupid. because you know you're going to be using. There's lots of people in prison for self-defense, actual self-defense, who have messed up, who have got tripped up, said things that they didn't mean to say because it was coerced by law enforcement, and they found themselves in prison for actual self-defense. So it's important to know the laws. Like I said, know the laws really well. Get a lawyer. Talk to a lawyer first. And if you ask for a lawyer, like I said, they have to stop talking to you right then until you get that lawyer and you get that counsel. And that will give you time to relax, to think, to calm down, talk to your lawyer, and get everything situated in your mind. Because, you know, right after something like that happens, if you're being questioned, you're going to be scatterbrained, most likely. You just had to take someone's life. Someone's just breaking in your home. Maybe you've been injured yourself. You know, maybe your family member has been injured, and you're trying to answer these questions. Don't do that. Get a lawyer. Ask for a lawyer. So I'll be an officer. I'll be happy to answer all your questions as soon as I talk to a lawyer. It doesn't mean you're guilty. It doesn't mean anything whatsoever like that. It means you're using your rights intelligently. So always talk to a lawyer. Officer, I'll be more than glad to answer all your questions, give a full statement as soon as I talk to my attorney. And then, the most important thing is to shut up. Don't say anything else. Keep your lips sealed until you actually get to talk to your attorney. It's not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. This is just common sense. This is what I was taught when I was taking handgun and self-defense training. Talk to a lawyer. Shut up. Don't say anything else. Officer, I'll be more than glad to give a full statement as soon as I talk to a lawyer. And then shut up. Because their job is to entrap you and get that conviction. If you enjoyed the video and found it useful, give it a big thumbs up. It's greatly appreciate it. And be sure to go down in the description box below and click on the link to go subscribe to my free Friday email newsletter. It comes out every Friday. 10 things worth sharing this week. You'll love it. 100% free. If you don't like it, you can simply unsubscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video, hopefully.